Hello, my friends. Today is a very, very big deal in the careful industries. I'm Cara and I'm careful. I'm gonna build a NAS and actually more of a server for my studio because I have way too much important data and way too little places to put it into. Right now, my setup is one PC with Windows and one backup hard drive inside with daily backups and a bunch of these hard drives in boxes that I plug every now and then when I think about it. It's not ideal, it's not very redundant, and it's not cool enough. I lowballed somebody on eBay and got this mini PC that is actually very capable. This is a Lenovo ThinkCenter, new enough to have a peer. It has a 8th Gen i3 processor, so better than Raspberry Pi 5, and a lot of expansion. Let me show you. On the front, we have a USB-C on a cheap computer, USB-C. On the back, the usual. But look at this. There's an expansion port here. Let me open this. This is last forever. On the top, you can see that I have space for a 2.5-inch drive. That's pretty usual, but if you remove this caddy, there is a PCIe slot. You can actually use PCIe devices here. You can just get a riser that's €7 on AliExpress, and you can connect a card here. On the other side, you have an M.2 slot here, where I put my boot drive. It's just a 240 gigabytes battery drive. Nothing special, but I just need something for the system to boot from. And DIMM slots. It's SO-DIMM with DDR4, and I currently have 8 gigs, but I want more. It can support, according to Lenovo, up to 32 gigs. It's supposed to only be 2666 megahertz, but maybe you can put faster in there. But as you know, right now, DDR prices are off the charts because of AI, like this bubble. So I'm gonna just add another stick of 8 gigs just here. I found the exact same module, like exact same brand, exact same types, like it's one row, it's the same speed, exactly the same. The label is identical. It's just a different serial number. That way I will have 16 gigs, and that's enough unless I use ZFS. The old rule of ZFS is 1 terabyte equal 1 gig of RAM so that it can accelerate it. I heard it's not really the case anymore. These days, it's more like 5 terabytes for 1 gig of RAM on top of the 8 for the system. For now, I'm gonna use 16 gigs. 8 is enough, but 16 is like better. I will expand like in a year or something. I don't want to pay €200 for just like some SO-DIMM from 6 years ago, 7 years ago, maybe even 8. This is gonna be my NAS. This is gonna be my server. I'm gonna put it in a 10-inch rack. I'm gonna add some 2.5 gigs of networking because here you have an M.2 A+E port that is supposed to be for Wi-Fi, but it's compatible with some M.2 to 2.5 gigs networking. So I'm gonna have 2.5 gigs, which is more than the speed of hard drives. Not enough for SSDs, but enough for now. I can always upgrade it later because 10 gigs also exists, but everything with 10 gigs is more expensive, like the cards I need to in my actual PC, and yeah, it's enough. It will be mostly for backups and some like deep storage. I'm gonna plug in the riser. I'm not gonna use the hard drive mount for now. Maybe later for some cache when I use CFS, but I'm gonna use the riser to put in a SAS HBA from LSI. Probably not totally genuine, but it should be just new board using like old server parts. Should be enough, and that will connect to 8 bays of 3.5-inch drives, expansions. I decided to settle on a Proxmox hypervisor, and inside of it, Open Media Vault. I wanted to use TwinOS, but as I'm not using ZFS for now, and as I have like a lot of old drives that I expect to fail at some point, I want to have the liberty of swapping them later for higher capacity. Right now, I will have 4 terabytes drives and 2 2 terabytes drives. They're very old, like maybe 10 years for some, or even more. I really expect them to fail. When one fails, if I don't have enough space, I will just add 8 terabytes and go from that and build it until it's only 8 terabyte drives. And when it gets to only 8 terabyte drives, I'm gonna update it and just swap to ZFS. So that's my plan for now. Oh, and I put everything on Proxmox for a very simple reason. Okay, it's gonna cost me in RAM, but I'm gonna have enough for now. 2 gigabytes is enough to make sure that it doesn't slow down, that nothing gets in the way. I want to be able to add another VM, my NAS VM, and a NAS VM for my father. That way I will have a server at his place, one server at my place, connect his server that is in my place using Terrestrial to his network, and the opposite. So we'll have some space at each other places, and just use it as we want using fiber internet. Wonderful. Let's wait for some parts, and I'm gonna just show you a part in just 1 second. Hello, my friends. This is a few days later. My parts are in. I 3D printed a bunch of stuff. Also this. Let's assemble it. I decided to go with the LabRax rack, and I'm gonna start with that because it's a lot of parts and it's gonna be easy to just put stuff into it rather than having this part here and then deal with it later. Everything has to be assembled with heatset inserts, M6, and you just take this and melt them into the parts and assemble. It's pretty easy. Let's time-lapse this. Okay, it's finally done. I have a rack. I'm now assembling my A base. And this is the back plane for the Jonesboro M3 enclosure. And it's pretty much perfect and exactly what I need. On one side, all the drives to connect, and on the other side, you have power and SATA. So I added insert on this side here. It's the next day. Let's upgrade the mini PC using this LSI card that seems to be old stock because the manufacturing date is 2013 and there is no mark on the PCIe fingers. I'm gonna connect it using this specific riser, and while I'm at it, I will add the 2.5 gig card. Hopefully everything works on the first try. Looks like there's an interaction between this and the connector here. I could break this and it should be fine. Or I could just resolder this. This was cheaper. It looks like there are no traces at the end here, but I don't really feel like cutting some off. Oh, maybe I can remove some of the shielding in front. Let's try this, because we don't need that much. I mean, I don't need to pass regulations here. This card is PCIe by 8, so I don't even need the latch of the riser. So I'm gonna just cut this off. Let's do things out of order and just break this free. Yes, it's still bulging here. I mean, I should probably get riser, but maybe it works. There's a source sketch. It's really fine. I'm gonna add some cotton tape. Okay, this is safer. Let's turn it on and go look on the computer. It boot up all right. And I'm connected. Let's see if I can pass through some hardware. Gonna add PCIe. 2.5 gig is connected, and I mean the LSI is also connected. Nice. Let's add this cable and see if I can close the computer now. So this is a SAS cable, and it's gonna connect to the HBA here, and I'm gonna just route the cables outside. I think I should remove the back plate here because I don't need it, and that way I can just route it straight out. I should be able to fold them here because it's not fiber, but just to be safe, I'm gonna leave this open for now. As you can see, I cannot close it, but this is barely above the height of this. Yeah, should be fine. I can also remove the front plate here, stick it in front, and nobody will be the wiser. Yep, got to see that in. This should just turn on. And it's on. I feel like this is not the same thread. Let's solve this later. I think this is an imperial thread. So the LSI HBA contained its own BIOS, and when you try to initialize it, automatically it boots into it instead of whatever your BIOS options are. So to prevent this, you have to uncheck the ROM bar option in Proxmox, and now it boots. And it's also available in Opium Media Vault, so I'm fine. Okay, back to this. I think I'm gonna put everything into my rack right now so I don't mess anything up. First, I'm gonna unclip this. Finally. I think I should just be able to put this here. Hope it doesn't move. Yeah, I can use tape. Nice. This doesn't fit perfectly because I didn't take into account the feet, and it's slightly not wide enough. I don't really know why. It's good enough. I added 2 keystones, one for 2.5 gigs and one for 1 gig for management. And I'm just gonna pass these through from here to there. Okay. This will go in there nicely. And I think I'm gonna add a zip tie just to make sure that this stays out of the way. Okay, good. Now this can be connected again. Number 1, number 0, and just slide it in. And the battery in the back. This power supply can live there on the floor. I think I can just have this on the side here. So I just have one cable for the entire rack. It's secured. So this power supply is just there for the base. I'm gonna secure this a little better. I guess this is a good time to add some ports in the front. I'm gonna need some USB and some HDMI from the Lenovo. I printed this. And I'm back. I decided to just do everything and then deal with details later. From top to bottom, we have my modem for my ISP. It's connected to this USB port and these 4 Ethernet. This will soon be a fiber pass-through, so I can connect everything from the front. Here we have my 2.5 gigs switch, so it's convenient to just have everything here connected. Underneath we have an Apple TV and a Raspberry Pi 5. I decided to mount it like this instead of having all the ports visible so that I can have my Zigbee dongle inside instead of outside where I can break. Here is just a patched panel. For now, there's just a few ports that go directly to the ThinkCenter. This one is my HDMI, and this is USB hub that's connected to a few webcams so I can see them from HomeKit. And just like my 8 days, I haven't configured anything yet. But the mess of cable I used to have everywhere is gone, finally gone. As you can tell, you don't really want to see the back, but everything is mostly contained and it's pretty nice. Just one power cable and the fiber that's gonna be routed on in front later. The power supply for the base is here, and it's pretty nice that you have extra space in the lab racks on top and on the bottom to just shove things everywhere. And there it is. I'm pretty happy. It's compact and much better than having a SCAR disk with everything zip tied to it. I've been having this for about 10 days now. It's been pretty nice. I've used it every day. I have regular backups, no failure, nothing. I swapped some of the temporary fans now, just to be safe. I swapped them for Noctua 40 by 20. They're a bit more noisy than I would like, because I currently have like 5 fans plus the power supply, that's like 6. It's a lot of different pitches. They all have low noise adapters, and temperatures are really, really fine. I could probably do without the fans, to be honest, but I don't know about summer. So I may just add a fan controller to tune it down during winter and tune it up during summer. I finally also replaced this piece of shit from 2008 by actual drives. I currently have 4 in the 4 for backups. 1 is for parity, 3 are for data. Apparently 2 of the drives are failing, so I'm gonna replace them eventually. I will just replace them by 8 terabytes at some point. An actual NAS drive instead of just whatever is the cheapest. Because NAS drives are rated to be close to each other and vibrate altogether. Better be safe. And I also added a new drive from my deep storage. It's currently 8 terabytes. It's pretty empty, to be honest, but I'm gonna move from there and just multiply 8 terabyte drives and pull them together at some point. I also want to turn off the SFX power supply when the server is done, or ideally when that VM, the NAS VM, is down. I have a few ideas, like just having a relay on USB that turns on and off the switch, but we'll see. I'm exploring a few ideas. Maybe some will be smarter than this. Software-wise, I did a lot of tweaking. There are a lot of pitfalls I fell into because I didn't know exactly what I was doing, or some things are not intuitive. Like, for example, why on iOS you cannot just create files on the Samba share when you can do it on Windows. Turns out there's an option for that. You need to find the option, and it's not in the UI. I will probably do a follow-up about that and just try to go through every config file and interface just to put everything out there somewhere. Maybe you're wondering about the cost and if it was worth it. I decided that my baseline would be a UGreen 2-bay NAS because it's currently very popular. I think they retail at 180 euros without any drives for 2 bays. And my entire system was probably around 175 without drives and without all of the extra cables and rack and everything. So if you just put things together next to each other, and you don't need extra kickstands, you don't need a switch, you don't need a network card for your computer, I think it was about 175. 70 euros for the server itself. The backplane was about 15. I got the power supply for 30. The LSI card was about 25 to 30. So I would say it was really worth it, because now I have 8 bay of high performance and not just some kind of N150 or something like that. I can basically extend everything with my PCIe lanes, so that's pretty nice. I'm using 5 bays out of 8, which was my goal because I didn't want to max out everything right now and be stuck in the future. 175 for the server and the cards and the base and some plastic, and probably 100 for the extra bits like the network switch, a lot of the keystones, cables, and comfort features. So that's it. Thanks for watching along, and I will see you on the next video. Bye!